Massachusetts, so we're in Austin for the week, and I'm happy to be presenting the demo. When they asked me to stand in, I said I'd be happy to do it. I'm eager to share the story of Campus Live with you guys, kind of like a product demo. Laced in with the story of the entrepreneurs. I'm curious to hear your feedback. Maybe there will be a couple minutes afterwards if the guy after me doesn't show up right away. So my first job was at McDonald's. I worked there when I was 14. I didn't know at the time, but McDonald's would later on become one of my biggest clients. But this was my first experience working in a big consumer corporation and really learning what it was all about. My second job was a little cooler. I actually started to learn how to code. It was a lot easier because I was not a very good McDonald's employee. I look 15 now. When I was 15, I looked like I was 9. So it was really tough to get around. But programming was easier because you could do it behind the computer screen. And then I went to college, which was the best 3 1/8 years of my life. And my parents weren't thrilled when I told them that I deferred from school to work for this guy. I'm sure everyone recognizes Mitt Romney from 2008. He's a good-looking guy. That didn't really work out, unfortunately. And so instead of working for the McCain campaign, I decided that there would be something a little bit more interesting. And we came back and developed the first product for Campus Live, which is the company that I'm the founder of today. Back in the day, Campus Live was a college homepage. The idea that we could bring together all these different resources on college campuses. Everyone's probably looking at it from the South by perspective and thinking of like a customized iGoogle. And for the most part, that's really what we were. But it was a small group of us, and we came together and we developed something like this and got some early traction. And it's funny to look back at it now and look at page views, which is sort of an outdated metric. But we got some initial traction around 15 campuses. And we started trying to figure out how to make money. I was sleeping on a mattress on our 700 square foot floor office. And it was just a crazy time for all of us. Most of the time, this is really how it is for young entrepreneurs. Almost no money, living on basically the office, or some people sleep on a couch or a dorm. And I've seen so many of these examples, and I bet the guys coming in after me are going to have gone through the same thing. But we had some early traction. We had some good feedback from our first users. But as many of you guys know, if you're in the ad industry or somehow connected to it, you can't really sell page views. They're totally commoditized. Banner ads suck. You can't sell them. Even at the level of users that we were getting, just weren't making any money. And so we thought about this. People hate forced marketing. They hate the idea that you're going to put banner ads. Everyone here has seen banner ads, whether you came for the mobility talk or for this one. Everyone's seen the banner ads and how annoying they are, the interstitials and all these things that take over your page when you don't want it to. And so we thought about this and we said, how do you reward people and brands for interacting with each other? How do you get them to actually want to have the experience that you're setting in front of them? And we didn't think the answer was better banner ads or a better billboard. And I think what we're starting to realize across the board is that this kind of stuff is boring. You can't get people to click on something and force them to go through an experience they don't want to see. And so we thought about this and we said, all right, what do people want to do? And I'm not only speaking for Campus Live. You're going to see dozens of companies starting to figure out that banner ads are not the way to go. The general term advertising might not even be the right term for the industry. And so anyway, people wanted to learn, create, play, or be challenged by the brand, by the product, by whatever experience they were going through. And so my small team actually came together and we developed what we believe is a new type of content. And you guys are some of the first that are seeing this out in the wild, because this is only live for a few college campuses now. But we earnestly believe this is the big next thing, and I'll show you the kind of brands that are using it with us today. So, the secret for us, what we figured out, is that by allowing people to create content, you're going to get them to continuously come back and engage. And more importantly, from the brand's perspective, you're going to be able to get them to do anything you want. And so I'm standing here and saying that Campus Live can get any action from any user as long as we create the experience in a way that's predictable. And so actually, when I was pitching my first Series A investors, I told them, they said, there's no way you can get people to do this. And I told them that by the next day, we'd create a challenge where people would stand on their heads, and we'd get thousands of pictures of people actually standing on their heads, and we'd send them into them to prove that we had this power. They said no thanks because it was a legal liability, but instead, we created 1,000 photos of people in their Halloween outfits in 24 hours. And that kind of power from this tiny user base, it was just several thousand people, showed them, and they actually invested in Campus Live and gave us the resources to do what we've been able to do. So, Campus Live, we deliver social actions. That's really the idea behind the company. You take an action that you then share out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, and you're able to meet the objectives of the brand, but the people are coming there to interact with it as though we're content. So we've been literally able to flip the switch from advertising to content. And And so I'll show you guys an example, and this is sort of the end of the talk, is the product demo for Karmaloop. And if you're familiar with Karmaloop, it's sort of one of the fastest growing e-commerce retailers. And they fully embrace the idea that you don't want to buy advertising. Instead, you want to create an experience that users want to buy from you. And so, this is the challenge that we created for Karmaloop, and this is super interesting. People would come to Campus Live to design their own graphic t-shirt. You see the Karmaloop logo on the bottom. All we gave them was this little MS Paint tool, and we only let several thousand people try this out because this is just when we were launching Campus Live. The next step was actually voting on the best graphic tee. So you've made your own, you're now voting on the best. These are the kind of things that people were submitting over the course of, 5-10 minutes spent on the site doing these exact things. And as you can see, we've been generating votes for all of these t-shirts. Again, this is people coming to interact with Karmaloop. The alternative is a graphic banner advertisement. That's it. And so the last thing that you'll do on Campus Live, and this is what people are doing now, is share it out to your friends on Facebook, on Twitter, and get people to vote. And so from the perspective of the company, every new person that comes in and votes on one of these t-shirts connects with us with Facebook, and then they create their own designs. Their friends see them sharing those designs. The friends create their own designs. Again, there's no advertising here. There's no advertising dollars spent. And then they share them to their own networks. And so what you've got is thousands of these t-shirts created in a very, very short period of time, in a company you guys probably haven't heard of. And you've got some ridiculous designs. And so these were the two winners. These are the winners that people actually created on that little tool right here. I'll share it to you again. It's crazy. This little MS Paint tool lets people creating content like this for Karmaloop. And we got thousands of these. 7 minutes on average creating a t-shirt. That's dozens more than you're going to spend on a banner ad. 1,560 designs in just 1 week. And again, this is a Campus Live company that just launched. 2,556 shares and 16,000 votes on those designs. And so what you're thinking about is, would you buy a t-shirt that you designed and shared? And so what we're saying is that the future of advertising really isn't about banner ads and working your way down the social funnel. It's actually creating content and activation around a specific brand. And so that's the question that we left to Karmaloop. Would they buy a t-shirt that they designed and shared? And overwhelmingly, the answer was yes. And so we're working with a bunch of different brands that are starting to catch on. These are some of the companies that are starting to realize that spending advertising dollars on the banner ads and the billboards isn't working for them in any effective way. And what they're starting to see is that the future of advertising really isn't. It's not about buying ads, it's about creating an experience that's worth sharing. And that's it. Thank you. Any questions or anything?
Would you go back 2 slides to the brands you already have signed up?
You got it.
Awesome.
Do you have any examples of how they're allowing people to create? Like Marines.
Oh, totally, yeah. So I'll use an example that we just ran a challenge with. So McDonald's, they were launching a peppermint mocha, which is a new coffee product. What we allowed them to do is create the drizzle on the coffee, and it sounds boring as hell. Within a week, we had people not only checking into the McDonald's, buying coffee and doing this stuff, but actually sharing it out to thousands of friends. I think it was our most successful challenge yet. If you Google Media Post plus Campus Live, you'll see the case study.
Cool. Thank you.
Did you say they designed the drizzle pattern?
The drizzle pattern, yes. I know.
Was there
Yes, no, that's it.
was there
That's
any
part of the challenge.
was there any incentive for them to take a picture of it? It was like a contest?
Yeah, so everyone who went and took a picture had a chance to win a trip to Miami. And so the idea is that you layer in sweepstakes and contests around specific action triggers. So that's the secret sauce behind Campus Live. That's why we're able to do this. Not everyone can. Any other questions?
Are you thinking of expanding beyond college market?
Yes, in 4 weeks actually. So this was a test sort of in a vacuum, and now that we've reached what we believe is sort of starting to be critical mass on college campuses, several 100,000 people, that's our next sort of release into the wild.
Yeah, and how many shares did you have on the t-shirt design contest?
So for Karmaloop, we had 5,000 people that we allowed to enter the campaign itself. Of those people, 15, 60 created a design and got those metrics.
16,000.
Yep.
How are you setting benchmarks? So, like for McDonald's, the number of votes and shares would be significantly higher than a brand like this. So, how are you setting benchmarks to say for McDonald's, like, hey, this is what we can expect we get?
So, are you talking about from the question of scalability, like McDonald's needs more shares in order for it to get
So I guess my question is, do you guys set goals ahead of time for campaigns? So if I hire
question. So the way that we charge is per engagement instead of charging people a flat fee or charging people on just impressions. So you're only going to get charged for the folks that went through and created a design and shared it out. So if McDonald's wants 100,000, they can come to us and say we want 100,000. We guarantee that 100,000 based on our audience.
So how do you get that 100,000? I guess that's my question.
It's all through viral sharing and word of mouth.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can you put up your contact information again?
Sure. Any other questions?
So, if you were marketing a new piece of music, you know, how do you create an experience that people? I mean, you're saying don't buy ads, create an experience that they'll share.
Sure, so I can actually speak to that specifically. Through some of the work that we're doing, I think it's through NBC or through Universal, what you'll do is you'll get a 10-second clip of a music video or a 10-second clip of an actual song, and you'll be able to guess who the artist was and compete that with your friends and all those sorts of things. So creating actual drawings is only one small capability of the experience. We've got dozens of them that are custom built for each brand. The only thing that stays the same are the game dynamics and the sweepstakes and contests around those. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't say go out and buy banner ads that promote Drake's new song. I would say create a challenge or something similar. You don't have to use Campus Live and say, all right, this is the interactive experience you can have with Drake's music. And some folks are already doing that. We're not the only ones. I think I saw a question.
Yeah, what would you say the fundamental differences between your concept of layering challenges and contests around triggers and online contests and challenges where they put out a dollar prize and say, do this thing, and if you're the winner, you get a dollar prize. What's the difference between the prize and a trigger?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're talking about sort of incentive-driven contests. We started with that concept in mind and learned quickly that for the business to succeed, just incentive-driven contest means you have to reacquire the customer, which is the user, every single time. But if they have an experience that they enjoy, that's the golden standard for Campus Live, they'll come back again and again. So that's more of a business model question. That said, though, if you're a brand, would you rather have someone do it because of the experience with your product or because you're paying them to do it? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I'm coming from the open government data space.
Cool.
Where there's a lot of challenges and competitions around, hey, here's this data set, create some innovative solution to this problem around this data. I know you might win $5,000 if you're the one that selected this winner, and they're, by and large, they look successful, but you don't see anything that's actually carried through into implementation.
Well, that's exactly it, because you're literally paying someone to do something or you're incentivizing them to do it, so they don't really care. The idea with Campus Live is that the prizing is secondary to the experience. People actually design these t-shirts because they care. I mean, you can't tell me this guy was hoping for the 1 in 5,000 chance to win. That's just not the case. Any other questions? I think I saw one other hand, and then I think we're probably going to get out of here. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you again. Much appreciated.